Welcome to the Aquatics Life, the aquatic spotlight of the daily Parks and Rec show. From swimming and water safety to aquatic fitness and recreation, we explore the people, programs, and ideas making waves in communities everywhere. Hosted by Wesley King, every Friday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is the Aquatics Life, where recreation meets the water. In this episode, Wesley King welcomes Cara Green from the University of Houston to discuss leadership in aquatics, lifeguard development, water safety, and building stronger communities through education, teamwork, and aquatic recreation.
Hello, everybody. Life, and we will have a special guest, Cara Green, who is part of All Things Aquatics. But first, it's July 3rd. It's 12:30 Central Time. Do you know where your kids are? I know where my kids are. They're swimming in my parents' pool in Central Illinois, where I am now. And so to the one audience member, my mother, she can just listen up the stairwell and she doesn't have to log on to Facebook. So, and this is where it takes us, 4th of July. We're going to get to Cara Green and her wonderful work at the University of Houston. We're going to talk about our show hosts and everything else. But first, what I want to do is take 1 minute and remind everybody it is the 4th of July. There's a quote. Here's your quote, Craig, from a 90s movie, Armageddon, right? If you hold the firework wrong, your wife opens your ketchup bottles for the rest of your life. There's your Armageddon movie quote. However, if you don't watch your pool, it's much worse than a bad thumb or a burned finger. I cannot express this enough, whether it's the 5 layers of safety, whether it's cooking out and grilling early, which is what my father will do tomorrow morning. He's going to cook out at 9 to 11 a.m. so that at 4 to 6 p.m., he can be around. Is he in charge of the pool? No. But he's around and he can have a good time. So whether it's changing your schedule to cook or eat earlier, whether it's taking lunch breaks, whether it's hydrating yourself, whether it's designating a water watcher, it's the 4th of July. And as I've told some of the clients and people I've been working with, it's not just the 4th of July. We're coming off of the 4 hottest days we've had almost anywhere in a long time. So what I'm going to end with this, and then we'll go to a few show hosts, Jovi, and then we'll go to our 1,000 likes in a second. But what I'll end with this is you have to take into consideration what's already happened. From your lifeguards to your attendees to your guests, right? Here's another free tip. Look for farmers' stands. If you're running a park district and you're running a facility outdoors, look for farmers' stands. What does that mean? That means that person hasn't been with their shirt off. So they're probably going to get a little sun quicker, right? Look for crutches. Look for zip scars. I can go on and on. But the point is, remember, it's not just about today. There's 4 days of hot, muggy buildup that our bodies and our staff and our consumers have dealt with. So there's my rant. There's my soapbox. There's my kids being watched by my dad, his twin brother, and my mother. So we should be okay. Now, real quick, Jovi, if we'll pop up the 1,000 likes and followers. Again, if you don't know Mr. Beast, if you don't know all the famous people on YouTube, you should know them. Here's a shout out to my son. Like and follow us. To John Prue and our other show hosts, yes, we need live viewership, but I know you're busy. I know you got things to do. So just click on like and follow us, and then I can stop pushing this. But also, what does this mean? Why are we pushing this? What it means is my mother and father can watch this on YouTube. What it means is that people that don't care about LinkedIn or Facebook can watch this content, not just Wesley King's. And here we go to our natural transition. Jovi, we'll go up to the next image. It means they can watch all of these wonderful people. And this slide will even be updated. So whether you're military Parks and Recs, M stands for morale, and John Prue, whether you're Aaron Locks in sports programming, whether you're the Dr. Pepper Club with Papa J or Joy or Beatrice or all our other new shows, the whole point is we're here. We have it for you. Each hour, each week, there's a new special guest, and you don't have to go anywhere else, right? So take all this content and put it in an accessible form. Well, that's YouTube. So why do we ask you to like and follow our show? Why do we ask your friend to like and follow our show? So everything you're looking at and hearing about, you can have easier access to, and we can support our endeavors at a greater length, and your staff can get educated. Your team can get educated, and you don't have to log in to do it. So on that note, be safe on 4th of July. Big shout out to Cara Green, our guest today. And we're going to go to our commercial break where we're going to talk about Outdoor Link and Dave Ramirez and his wonderful company that supports all of the electricity and design and flip of a switch, your lights go on in your parks, but really the control of the electricity and control of the budget. And then an also big shout out to Aaron Locks for the National Academy of Youth Sports and all of the wonderful things he does and his shows. But really, it's about having fun playing sports, from soccer to coaching and integrating youth athletics into a culture of camaraderie and support, which is what his company does and which is what we're going to see through the commercials. And we'll come back with Cara Green. We'll learn about all the letters after her name. We'll learn about the University of Houston, all things aquatics, and how she has programming from teenagers to geriatrics and more. So, Jovi, here we go to the commercial, and we're excited to have Cara when we come back.
It's not just water. It's responsibility. It's leadership. It's not just drowning prevention or water safety. It's life. And every day, aquatics professionals make decisions that save lives. Because aquatics is more than swim lessons. It's community. It's creativity. It's impact. For over 30 years, aquatics hasn't just been my profession. It's been my life. I've seen the challenges, the pressure, the grind, but I've also seen the power of great leadership and what happens when communities come together. This is where education meets entertainment, where real conversations happen, where aquatics professionals come together to learn, lead, and grow. Because aquatics should bring people together. This is Aquatics Life, streaming on DPRS Media Network.
Okay, and I promise not to get sentimental as I watch pictures of me in my youth, knowing my children are causing the same amount of chaos. But here we are. Cara Green, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm well. How are you, Wes?
I am wonderful, and I will stop babbling and let the world learn about you. Now, in our earlier graphic, we had about 5 different initials behind your name, and it's not here, but from LGIT to CRIT, help the world understand who you are and what you're all about.
Yes, so I am a lifelong aquatics professional. I started my career 19 years ago as a lifeguard at a Parks and Rec department outside of Atlanta, Georgia. And I quickly learned that I love learning. So every certification that I could possibly get, I did. For a long time. I was even a CPRP when I worked in Parks and Rec. I let that lapse though, because CEUs got hard to get during COVID.
Sure.
But I am Red Cross, LGIT, CPRIT, and WSIT. I am obviously a certified pool operator, all of those fun things. And I am now a Clifton Strengths coach as well. So anything that's been available to me to learn something new, I have taken advantage of that.
I love it. There's a thing in the industry we know of adrenaline junkies.
Yeah.
There's a thing called a certification junkie in aquatics, and it's not a bad thing. Let me be very clear. I also wish Craig LeBlanc, the doorman, they call him, was sitting next to us, because when you list off those initials, I like to watch his head spin and the fireworks go off like in the cartoons. But talk to us a little bit about the certifications are awesome, but I want to take a quick step into leadership and development.
Yes.
Aquatics is a world of always learning. Yeah. Tell us about how you've taken that passion of learning and built it into your career as the program director at the University of Houston. How did that all work out?
Yeah, so I have been very fortunate in my career to have amazing opportunities to learn and grow, which has gotten me to where I am. And now I feel like I have to pay it forward. So my passion in my career is helping this next generation of young people thrive. It starts with lifeguard training. We do professional developments as well, leadership training, Clifton Strengths coaching, all of that. And we have a pretty comprehensive program because my goal is to be their last part-time job before they go off to their careers. And very few of them are going into aquatics, and I have to recognize that. So while, yes, there is a job function that they have to do, and I have to train them to be, knowledgeable and competent lifeguards, I also have to train them how to be young adults and go into the workforce in a way that they can be productive members of society.
If this is the last part-time job you've ever had, I've done my job.
Yes.
That should be printed in ink somewhere, tattooed somewhere. What I have learned, and I think you're living this, and what I'm so proud to have you here and to talk about other stuff is, what I used to say is, if all you know how to do is a rescue, I've failed you.
Yes.
If all you know how to do is stop a rescue or prevent one, I've taught you something.
Right.
But if you know how to walk people through the process like you're talking, that's another level. So I also love that you say it starts with lifeguarding. Talk to me about how that philosophy came about from you, where that came from, because in this industry, some people might say it starts with, I don't know, just showing up or having a fake 3-day certification, or, this is my show, so I can say those things. But why is that so important to you?
Yeah. So in this industry, we become very passionate about safety first. So lifeguarding is that first step. And as a LGIT, I train my student leaders to be LGIs, and then they are training the lifeguards. And if we're doing our job right, then they have skills that are irreplaceable. These kids, it's funny. When I worked Parks and Rec, I used to do job interviews for lifeguards. I sat down, I asked them questions, we went through all the hoopla, and then I put them in a lifeguard class. And because of the area I was in, most of them could pass the lifeguard class because they had swim lessons, they had access to pools, so on and so forth.
Because of the area you're in, sorry to interrupt, double down, keep going.
Yes. So now that I'm in the 3rd Ward of Houston at a very international school, at a school that is very diverse and does not have all of the same access for all of the people that I have, come in and try out, I no longer do an interview because I have come to the conclusion that if you can swim, I can teach you everything else. And so our interview process now is the prerequisites for the lifeguard class. So if you can pass that, then we will pay for your certification. We train you ourselves, and then we train you how to be young adults after that. So it starts right with the safety piece, with the being able to be a lifeguard. But it becomes so much more. And it makes me really sad to hear that, when I get lifeguards from other pools or other training facilities or whatever it may be, they don't always come with the same skills or the same mindset. And I've told my staff before, I'd rather have a brand new, never been trained before lifeguard because I don't have to break bad habits. I can train them to be what I need them to be. Whereas if you're coming from a neighborhood pool or another facility that doesn't have the same values that we have or the same training structure that we have, I might have to break some bad habits and maybe some bad attitudes. It really...
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Between the combination of the ability to understand how to manage your location, I think so many park districts struggle, and some of them had red tape and limitations and legal challenges, but struggle with the structure of building a team. Yeah. Building a team, interviews. Well, that's traditional. Well, there's a lot of parts in this country that baseline of understanding. the baseline of understanding swimming,
going crazy over here.
it's all right, is minimal, if at all. And so then to turn to your part district and say, well, we're just going to pay for lifeguarding classes. You're just wasting your time. And so your ability to adjust that and then focus on what's next. If they understand that lifeguarding is number one,
yes,
and everything else is number two, I laugh so hard when you say attitude adjustments. I laugh so hard when you say safety behaviors, because that's the norm that employee knows. And when you invite them to your world, that employee is like, this is a different job. This is, but it's still lifeguarding. Talk to us about how you have created a culture. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you're good. You cut out for just a sec there. But yeah, no, exactly. I have a guard. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, you can hear me. Okay.
Yes.
So I have a lifeguard that works for me now, that her first lifeguarding job, she said, I showed up and the guards were breaking the rules and I got them all fired. And then everybody hated me and it was like a toxic workplace. And now I love it here because we have structure, we have rules, we have guidelines, and everybody's held accountable for their actions. And I'm like, yeah, that's a big difference between neighborhood schools and a university year-round indoor natatorium culture, right?
And so you hit the word culture, and my bet is that there's two camps listening to this. One camp is going, of course, Cara and Wes, that's how it should be. And there's another camp listening going, what does it take to get what you're describing? And they felt it and earned it. So I think there's just so many crossover analogies of dealing with this same generation, 18 to 22, dealing with multiple job experiences and having to reset, dealing with the internal structure to say, this is how we're going to interview because we know the population and it is what it is. And we're transparent about it. And then fourth is, well, now you're off the chair. Talk to us about that additional training and that leadership mentality that you have, but that you've instilled into the student mindset.
Yeah. So to go from our lifeguard training, it starts with our onboarding is 6 hours long just to start. So going through culture, going through policies, procedures, expectations, all of that, setting them up for success on their first day is the foundation. And you have to have a strong foundation. And then with our student leaders, we invest so much in them that our lifeguards want to become student leaders because they see, oh, I get invested in, oh, they get to do cool things and learn cool things, and they have opportunities that I want to have. And so they build and they kind of pull people up with them. And then for our leadership process, first they have to pass the prerequisites for the LGI class to be eligible to become a head guard. Then they have to pass a panel interview with all professional staff and current head guards. And then they go through an 8-week training program that includes leadership, communication and listening, personality differences, how to supervise your peers. We do a model aquatic health code training on, all the chemicals and stuff in the pump room. We do a full pump room tour and expectation setting for that. We go through, just job expectations, that kind of thing. And then they do 2 rounds of shadow shifting with current head guards. First round, they follow a current head guard around. They have to do an opening, a closing, a midday, and a weekend. And then in their second round, the current head guard follows them around. And again, they do an opening, closing, midday, and a weekend. And they have a checklist that they have to learn how to do the laundry. They have to learn all the tasks that the head guards do. And they have to learn opening procedures, closing checklists, midday checklists, how to turn the VFDs on and off for feature pumps, and all of those kinds of things, chem checks, using Taylor testing, DPD titration, our Palin test. And then once they go through those 8 weeks, then they have to give our pool technician a pump room tour where he makes sure that they're looking at everything they need to look at. And then once they've completed it, they then get their LGI, and then they're then offered a CPO class because my boss is a CPO instructor, which certification I want next, but that one's expensive. So.
And as a one who co-taught classes, I was never my own instructor. I was on the path to do it. I never completed it. Good on you, because that's so. My heart is so full. The Grinch's heart grew 3 times that day. Today was that day. I want to say this to the audience listening, going, how is she doing this? This is impossible. Your pool might only be open 6 months because you're a seasonal facility, but your property is open all year, ladies and gentlemen. So what I'm encouraging you to do is take what Cara's saying, and if you need help, I'll help you, and transition a lot of that into your seasonal off season, right? No, Cara has the one, she's in Houston, so okay, minus the floods. Also, you never mentioned when they get to meet Carl Lewis in your list. So in your supervisor list, for those of you that know, Carl Lewis he's the track and field coach for the University of Houston. So, but my point is you have the year-round structure and the 8 weeks. People listening to this are going to hear this and go, well, I'm only open these many days, and come August 14th, I just hand a clipboard over. Okay, well, spend the summer. Choose that person on June 10th, and then have them mentor all summer. Well, we can't afford it. Okay, well, have them lifeguard 20 hours a week and mentor 20 hours a week. There's always a way. I can promise you I have manipulated more budgets legally and successfully than more people would care to admit. And I think that's how, and I don't want to speak for you, Cara, and 2 things. One, there's a reason why this is so important, because the events and the programs that we'll talk about after the commercial. So when all of you hear, why is she doing this so well? When she hosts USA Olympic events and NCAA events and national senior events, this is why. And we'll talk about it after the break. But also, this didn't happen overnight, Cara, did it? It didn't happen. So if you lead the audience for a few minutes, if you would, how did this start week 1? How did you come up with the idea to have the test off to the CPO? How did you put all these pieces together?
Honestly, based on need, because when every iteration has been different. We started with a baseline and we've built it from there. I did not used to have them do the prereqs for the LGI as part of their testing, but then I had a head guard that couldn't pass the LGI, and that put us in a bad situation. So he then couldn't be a head guard because part of head guard duties is leading in services. And so pushed back, and that's not fair, honestly, to put him through 8 weeks of training, get him into the LGI class, and then fail him and then be like, well, your whole promotion is gone. So moving that forward to be a prerequisite, right? With the pump room tour and retour and all of that, the checklist, the checklist was born of they didn't know everything they needed to know. And they were like, oh, a head guard never taught me that. And then the current head guards are like, oh, well, I just assumed someone else would teach him that. And, bystander effect. Everybody thinks someone else is going to do it, but that's not the case.
I trusted this person. I tell people all the time, your trust does not hold up in court. I also tell my kids who are playing in my parents' pool, you find out you can't do this by doing it wrong. Now, granted, it's my parents' pool, but pump room is no different. You find out you can't not wash that probe or twist that tile. And I think that's what you start to do is instead of the disasters, let's just find out where the knowledge blanks are and fill in.
Yes. Yeah. And, when it comes to like rule review, when they're in training, because they're now having to enforce rules on a different level. So we touch base of, hey, what rules did you have to enforce this week? What did you learn from it? What do you need from me? What whys do you need? Because not every lifeguard is going to know the why for every single rule on every single poster in our whole facility, because we have competition lanes, we have a dive well, we have a slide at our leisure pool, we have a leisure pool, we have a sauna, we have 2 spas. So there's different sets of rules for each space. And yes, they live rent-free in my brain because that was the job. These are part-time college students that work for me up to 20 hours a week during the school year. So they're not going to know the why for every single rule that's ever existed in our facility.
We're enforcing it at times.
Yeah. And so having those opportunities and learning which ones happen the most and which ones they're struggling with the most, and then building that back in on the back end so that the next iteration we do better. It's always to do 1% better than the last time.
I love it. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. To your point, it's not just asking what went well and what went right, or what was your day, how was your day. It's getting in the details. And I'll go to the commercial after this. But one of the things I do, I take my staff to the top of the slide tower, and I'll say, "What do you see?" And they'll say, "Well, I see people swimming." And da da da. I said, "No, tell me what you see."
Yeah.
Oh, I see no backs on the chair.
Yeah.
I see no tops of heads because all eyes are down. And so I'll play the game of what's on the visor, because if I can see your visor, that means you're looking down.
Yeah.
Little things, but it's the same thing you're doing when you're in the pump room. It's understanding. I can say the pump room's good. All right, well, my definition of good and yours is good, you know? And so it's really teaching that articulation. And then now, and we'll go to commercial, I promise you in just a minute, Jovi. But really what I think you're doing great at, and what I think a lot of people sometimes are nervous about, is forcing the verbiage, forcing the staff to say it out loud. If I say it, do it, write it, teach it. And I would encourage people, don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of turning to another employee and go, tell me what you see. And like, I'm really nervous. I don't know. Just tell me. We'll figure it out. If you don't see what I see, go ahead. What do you got there? Yeah.
I'll do you one better. I don't ask them what they see. I ask them what I see.
Ooh, I love it.
They have to look at it through a different lens, because if they're just looking through their lens, they might not see it. But if I say, if I'm looking around right now, what do I see that might need to be addressed? And they'll be like, what do you see?
What? Tell me. Oh my God, I don't know.
It makes them think and process differently.
Yeah. Well, that's because you're a nicer person than I am. If I did that to me, they'd say, I don't want any part of your brain, Wes. Stick with my own perspective. But that's because you're a better person than I am. So on that note, we'll go to our commercial breaks. Again, shout out to Aaron Locks and National Academy of Youth Sports. Shout out to Dave Ramirez and Outdoor Link. And when we come back, we're going to find out why Cara is so particular about all this, with some of the amazing events she's hosting and things we have never talked about on the Aquatics life yet. So be ready when we come back. Jovi, it's all you.
In today's parks and recreation industry, communication, safety, and efficiency go hand in hand. That's where Outdoor Link comes in, delivering smart technology that empowers city departments and community planners to do more, smarter. Outdoor Link's platform connects and automates everything that keeps your parks running smoothly, from lighting and locks to signage, water features, Wi-Fi, and digital advertising. Control and schedule park lights for safety and energy savings. Remotely manage facility access. Coordinate fountains and splash pads. Provide public connectivity. All from one simple, unified platform, giving you real-time control, data, and cost efficiency. For parks and recreation agencies, that means safer spaces, smarter resource use, faster responses, and stronger community engagement. And behind every great park story is great infrastructure. That's why Outdoor Link proudly supports DPRS Media Company, helping the Daily Parks and Rec Show amplify the voices of professionals shaping our communities every day. Outdoor Link, smart, connected solutions for parks, recreation, and beyond.
They say it's just rec. Just rec, where kids learn to try again. Just rec, where confidence begins. Where teamwork, effort, and fun matter more than trophies. It's not about perfection. It's about participation. It's not just rec. It's where kids learn to love the game and themselves. It's just rec until they learn teamwork for life. It's just rec, but it's everything to them. It's more than rec. It's a movement. It's just rec until you realize it's shaping the next generation. Together, we're not just running programs. We're building a culture of confidence, connection, and community. Join us.
Okay. Are we clear of storms and lightning? We think. We don't know.
I don't know. These dogs are under my feet because they're scared of the lightning.
That is so cute. What kind of dogs?
I have a mini Aussie and I have a pit bull lab mix.
That is awesome. We had a schnoodle. She passed away a few years ago, but was my son's best friend.
Yeah.
So I don't want to screw up any of the great events you're doing by saying them wrong. Tell the world some of the amazing things that are. We know what's happening September 26th. We will get to that.
Yes.
But in your work world, tell us some of the amazing things that are happening on campus that you're hosting and doing.
Awesome. So we have the great privilege of being a host facility, not only for the UH varsity swim and dive team, but we also, for the past 2 years, have hosted the Mountain West Conference Championship for swim and dive and the Big West Conference Championship for swim and dive. This coming year, the Big West has ended swim and dive, which is very sad, but we will be hosting the Mountain West, now men and women. It was previously just women. And then we will be hosting the Pac-12 Conference Championship this coming up year. And this summer, we have the great privilege and we're very excited to host the USA Swimming Southern Senior Zones meet at the end of the month. So
say that 3 times fast.
I know it's hard.
Yeah. All I can think of is Cameron Balcom, our friend from Houston, sued up. Shout out to Cameron, who swam for Houston. Yes. So I think of her perspective. So tell us, start with the NCAA and what it takes, and then I want to know the difference between hosting a senior event. But it's hundreds of swimmers. I've been to, swim events, but tell our audience, what's it like?
Yeah. So when you're a spectator at a swim meet, you typically just see the swimmers swimming. And there's quite a bit that goes on behind the scenes to make that happen smoothly and what looks like effortlessly. And I'll tell you, we put out a lot of fires on the back end to make it look easy and smooth. So it starts obviously with training our guards for what to look for in competitions that might be out of the ordinary for what you think of for rec swimming. So we're more likely to see a medical emergency or swimmers colliding during warm-ups and cool downs. I've had a swimmer slip and fall in the bleachers and dislocate their knee. I've had a diver slip in the shower and dislocate her knee. We've had bloody everything. And so
corners are my death trap, and every corner they say death is lurking, but drowning, yes, but all the swimmers coming anyway. Keep going. That's all I can imagine is everybody slipping around the corners. But
so there's a lot of things that can happen in the natatorium space during a competition that they have to be locked in and ready for, and then the setup and tear down is a huge piece of it. So what people don't see is that, we bring in bleachers, we bring in barricades for the conference meets. We put up banners and flags, putting in the timing equipment, testing the timing equipment, making sure that the touchpad is talking to the console, which is talking to the scoreboard, and then the console is talking to the meet manager computer, and that all the wires are working the way that they're supposed to be working.
And dry.
I tell my staff, I'm like, this is just data collection. It's very interesting data collection, but it's just data collection. Getting the touches and the button presses and the stopwatch times and all of that. And then, the host teams have a lot going on as well. If it's a championship meet, there's awards. They have to get awards out. Some of them, the NCAA ones, they'll do award ceremonies. So we get swimmers up on the podiums, and I'll be changing graphics on the scoreboard to go along with the awards and that kind of thing. There's a lot of moving parts that you just don't see behind the scenes.
And none of that's in the water, by the way, just for everybody listening. Craig LeBlanc out there. What about the water? Like, how does the chemistry? I mean, I've got some, but for the audience, like, all these human bodies are turning over, and then a whole bunch of other human bodies that have been showering, cleaning, cooling off in other pools. How do you keep, Virginia Graham Baker and all that?
Yes, so that's a great question. We have the privilege of our competition pool is 70 meters with 3 movable bulkheads, and it's 1.3 million gallons of water. So
Wow.
I call her my tried and true. She is my glory pool. She is amazing. She is consistent. It takes a lot to change the chemistry in that pool. So she's very consistent. So
Stable,
because
steady Eddie.
she's very stable, she's very steady. We do have UV. We have actually 2 sets of UV on that pool. We have 2 Defender filters on that pool. We use a chemtrawl to automate our chemistry, and we have a very specific range set, and it runs 90% of the time. It is amazing.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes. And then we actually have a pretty decent HVAC system. So I have controls on the back end, and I will drop the natatorium temperature before the events start so that when all the hot bodies get on deck, it doesn't feel as hot. And then I purge the air. So when it is getting a little bit chloramine in there, because there are 300 swimmer bodies in the water, I'll purge the air out, get fresh air back in. I maintain my humidity right about 50% so that it doesn't get icky sticky in there. And then I monitor the HVAC system throughout the event to make sure none of our dehumidifiers or humidifiers go into alarm or anything like that. So there is a lot on the back end with that as well. My head guards that are CPO trained, they do fill our chlorine feeders because we have erosion feeders. They do fill those. They check our entire pump room top to bottom every 2 hours, every day, all day long. So there should never be surprises, especially with that body of water. Now I'll say the spa, our little that one, whatever.
Yeah.
She's not
everybody's spa.
She likes to play games. I don't mess with her. If she's
she's
a
typical spa. She's a very stereotypical spa.
Yes, but I'm also not going to be sad if she's down. If something goes wrong with my competition pool, then I'm in there, and we're trying to figure it out. But we do a lot of preventative work for that pool to make sure that it is good to go. Before we have big meets, we also get all of our diving boards inspected and all greased and ready to go on that end as well. Every December, we close for 2 weeks. So we have our pool company, Landmark, shout out Landmark. They come in and they do a bunch of maintenance that can't be done while we're open. So anything that requires us to turn off the pool or drop the water line or anything like that, they come in and do tile. They reset our park plates for our bulkheads. They've redone our gutters. They do so much. They change out our UV light bulbs, do UV PMs, media changes, all of the above during that time. So we are ready to go because our biggest season of competition is January, February. So
for our audience out there, Cara described your facility on steroids, and then some. But I think some of the big takeaways are the seasonality of it, and we can get into that too, especially when you talk to the Super Senior Center event. I got it wrong, but you'll get it right. We all live seasonally in aquatics, and if you don't have a preventive maintenance plan, get one. If you don't have a closing cycle, not just a closing date. If you heard how Cara spoke, it wasn't these are the dates. It's based on a time frame so that she can be ready. I bet they close a week early if they have to. They close a week. The point is there's flexibility based on a goal. And I think that sometimes we get in the weeds in aquatics, and this is me speaking generally, in Parks and Rec and other YMCAs and JCCs with what's right in front of us. And we forget that in 3 months this program's starting. Or we forget. Cara doesn't have that luxury. But I also think you've put systems in place to afford that, from closures, from pumps, from having your staff do the walkthroughs, right? A lot of times, and this I'll speak again for me and aquatics in general, is we don't want to give up the power. We don't want to let our next gen go into the pump room. We are the only ones that know how to do it. But if you speak like Cara and you put the things in place, how much better is your life that you're not in that pump room all the time?
Yeah.
Not because you don't want to be or like it. It's because you know other people are doing it. And I think we often struggle with, well, they're not me. They can't see it. Yeah, but ask the question Cara asks. Look at it through her perspective. So again, and we'll get to the senior stuff, but I really think, and please expound on this, a lot of this is set because you know what's expected. You know what you have to do, and you put systems in place to be able to achieve it as opposed to just trying to get caught up each day. Is that fair? Or what do you?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We have the weird luxury of summer being our less busy season.
I was going to ask about the weather. Go ahead. Lead me into it. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So while we do have additional swim team practices this summer, and we have more meets this summer than we've had in the past, this is typically our time that I can like update my handbooks and prepare for the school year. I have to have my entire school year planned out before the end of May to start in August. So,
and not because of marketing. Sorry to interrupt. I'm a butthead. Not because of marketing brochures, not because somebody's saying I need a flyer. You're going to tell us why, but everybody says I have to marketing. No. Go ahead. This is big. Yeah.
Marketing is included in that.
It is fair, but there's much more to it than that. Yes.
But I have all my in-service dates planned out for the whole school year. I have all of my lifeguard classes planned out, all of my tryout dates planned out, and I have them planned around cycles of what we've seen in previous years. So I know, like, I'm not going to be able to run a lifeguard class in January. It's not going to be possible because I'm going to have a swim meet every weekend. So we stack them in the fall. We have an extra one in February. We do what we can with the time that we have. I have all of my swim meets planned through next May. So
right. Yeah. Okay. Calendar of a year cycle of school.
Right. Yeah. So when I end a meet, so for example, last weekend we hosted a meet for one of our local USA swim teams. It was a long course, chase starts, prelims, finals meet, super fun. Little kids can't touch pads, and that's annoying. But other than that, super fun. And at the end of the meet, I'm like, hey, do you want this date again next year? Right. So when conference championships end, do you want this date next year? Plug it in. And everything is in pencil until I get our UH varsity schedule. So I'll pencil in anything that's during the school year is penciled until I get the varsity schedule. Obviously, their swim and dive
it's coming
meets,
from their conference, and
their swim and dive meets take priority over all of our dates for swim and dive meets. So I might have to adjust a few meets here and there that are smaller meets, but typically the whole year out, we're rebooked.
Yeah. So. And for those of you, and then we'll get to the senior stuff too, and I promise we'll squeeze in all things aquatics. It's our event. You should think we should talk about it more. But how does this transfer to your Parks and Rec world? What I will say is, instead of thinking about a swim meet, think about your most profitable program. Think about the class, whether it's Aqua Babies, whether it's a whatever program you have.
Yeah.
What makes the most money? What's the best profit margin? What's the easiest to staff? And use that as Cara's Houston conference swim meets. And then build your markers off of it. Now, here's where some of you might not like me. Send your letters. Let's chat. If it's not profitable, if it's hard to staff, if it's hard to schedule, maybe you put that on the back burner and you put it in pencil. And you say, all right, I have my my Memorial Day to September, Labor Day, and I have my September to Memorial Day. We can break it up in quarters or 6 or 8 weeks if we have to. But again, I think what you've done great about is, and some by default, some by not, is this is locked. Now let's work backwards. Let's train backwards. Let's hire backwards. And I think that's, again, where some people get in the weeds and they go, oh, we've got swim lessons starting in 8 weeks.
Yep.
You've had it on the schedule for 6 months.
Right.
So anyway, just a lot of good takeaways. Tell us about the seniors, if you would, and what's happening with the awesome group.
Yes. So USA Swimming Southern Senior Zones, and senior just means like high school kids and older, not senior citizens.
But there are older adults that participate, yes?
There are a handful. But it is a qualifying meet, so they have to swim fast enough to get there. So
Fine. Anyway,
I
keep going. Yes.
know, I know. But yeah, no, so this is the wrap up for the USA Swimming, which is our club swim teams. This is the wrap up of their summer long course season. So they go through a series of qualifying meets. We are hosting one of the qualifying meets next weekend as well. And people from multiple different states will be coming into Houston, bringing, a couple kids from this team, a couple kids from that team. It's pretty big deal for the kids that get to go.
How does it operate differently? It is, they're not with their college swim team. They're over 18, right? They are not local, but neither are the national swim events. So what is the environment like? Do you have the same safety challenges? Do they come with a different mentality? Is it easier? What is or harder? Just to our audience, what is and they're both sanctioned, so I don't want to misspeak, but one is a collegiate student-based event, NCAA, but the other is similar on paper, but maybe not so much in actuality, or is it very similar?
So I will say there is a difference from my perspective of when we have college students come to our facility and when we have youth come to our facility. The college students, obviously, they're all going to college, right? And they swim at a college and they do their meets at a college. So it's not as novel for them to be at a university facility. But these kids, it is so cool for them. It is so cool for them to get to go to a college campus and swim at a college facility. I will say we are kind of dubbed as a no fun facility because we have a lot of rules for safety and risk management and compliance and everything. So there are some frustrations on day one of some of our policies and procedures and getting used to it when they're used to just going to a parks and rec pool and having free range and doing whatever they want to do. Whereas for us, you have to sign a waiver, you have to go through a specific gate, you have to do X, Y, Z, you have to wear shoes, so on and so forth. You can't deck change, blah, blah, blah. But once they get past that initial frustration of our rules, I think they think it's cool. From what I get from them, they think it's cool.
And deck change, Craig, for I call my Uncle Nate out there, but Craig out there, that means changing your clothes on the pool deck with somebody wrapped around a towel around you. And yes, we do it quite often. But to your point of adjusting, I should bring both of my children down here because they are certain getting hammered by my parents and my uncle and all the rules. But they'll adjust. But I think that's what aquatics is. Almost too good of a segue into all things aquatics, but really, I think you've shown this from the first 9 years in Atlanta to building these systems in Houston to being a collegiate facility that not just has the team, but hosts the event and then trickling it down. And you mentioned this earlier about the next generation. Before we get into all things aquatics, and Jovi, I promise I won't forget to tease Craig. Talk to us about what that's like. What's it like to take an 18, 19, 20-year-old and put them on their path? I mean, I know it from my experience, but there's a lot of us out there that haven't had that success rate yet, that are still struggling to get there. What's that experience like?
Honestly, it is so profound to be such a positive impact in so many young people's lives. I think a lot of people that know me personally, or know me in my personal life, but don't know me well yet, are like, why are you so passionate about working at a pool? Right? It's just a pool. No, it's not just a pool. It's right now I have 55 lifeguards that I am shaping a part of their life. I might not remember every single lifeguard that's ever worked for me, but I can guarantee the majority of them will remember me. And it's just awesome and so frustrating. It's also so frustrating. They are wonderful and they make me crazy because I'm like, I see so much of my young self in them. And I'm like, I know where you guys are at. I was there once too. And y'all, like when I was a lifeguard in college, if they did half of the things I did, they would all be fired. Like goodbye. I did all the bad things, so I know what to look for. but I learned my lessons, and now I am who I am today because of all the lessons I've learned. And I just hope that when they leave UH that they got something that, you know, translates into their career, whether it's leadership, whether it's communication, whether it's how to be held accountable, because accountability conversations are really rough for this new generation. But I try to make it as kind and meaningful as possible. So it's a lot, and they wear me out, but I love it.
Is that me or you? Okay, we're better. But you're right. It's I remember 25 years ago arguing with the supervisor that we don't need schedules because we've told people when to work and they'll just come in because I told them.
Yeah.
No, they won't. And you do need a schedule.
Yeah.
So, but those are life lessons. And I think it's just so awesome that you have that approach. And I know a lot of people in aquatics do. But for you to be able to talk about the payoff, that's what I wanted people to hear. So to that point, speaking of paying off, let's, if you're up for it, and I promise Jovi will get to the read. Would you mind telling the world about September 26th and All Things Aquatics?
We are very, very excited to host All Things Aquatics this year at the end of September. Friday night will be a amazing lifeguard games opportunity for the lifeguards, and Saturday will be an amazing opportunity for each other to connect with other aquatics professionals. I think Wes and Nicole et al. Have created a great space for real conversations to happen, and our facility is very excited to host that.
Yes, there's a fuzzy sound. I don't know if it's you or me. We're going to find out. But yeah, so 16 aquatic professionals, experts, leaders in the field, 100 attendees, all roundtable, small panel, small group discussion, panels. We're very excited again, and I know you weren't able to be part of the first one, but what I'm really humbled by is you're aware of it, and I think you see the value. And again, other conferences are great, but the value in that small work networking and that value in roundtable discussion and being able to meet the people instead of being behind a vendor booth and them lead discussions. And I know that's how you operate as well. But I've never been to Houston.
Not here.
And my wife won't listen to this, I'm sure, but it is her birthday, September 25th.
Okay.
And last year the event was on her birthday.
Okay.
So this year, when she found out it wasn't on her birthday, she asked, well, what are we going to do? And I said, we're going to do this lifeguard competition. And she's not going to do it. We'll watch it. And so for the audience out there, and I don't know, I'm just speaking over you only because I think it's fuzzy. So I apologize. We're going to have a wonderful name, a gentleman named Mr. T. Tuxtaka out of Jacksonville, Florida. And he is bringing 5 of our vendors, and they are going to be putting their products from their dual boards to their Boat Fitness handlebars to Otterball to Squim, which is I call Frisbee in the water. And the lifeguards are going to do what they did in the movie The Wizard. You're too young for The Wizard. It's a Fred Savage movie. He played Super Mario Brothers 2. And at the end of the movie, they play Super Mario Brothers 3. They've never played it before. So the lifeguards are going to be doing very similar lifeguarding things, but with these products and resources in a way that's productive and educational and supportive. And our goal is to have audiences and people watch and celebrate it because it's fun lifeguard stuff. But not lap swimming, not rescue. Although we will have steady, fast rescue tubes there, so we'll be doing some of that. But the idea is that your frontline staff in Houston can go and have a great time doing lifeguard stuff, and then you, as the operator, manager, senior executive, can join us on Saturday.
Yep.
That's
It'll be a good time.
It'll be a good time. Tickets are $65. They're available. I think we've sold about 25 already. So we're very excited for that. And then before we go, and we'll add some closing remarks overall about Cara, but I want to make sure that I get this read right. Look at me. Cara, if you're new to the show, you'll know that Wes reads it as you write it, so he doesn't screw it up. So I'm going to Ron Burgundy the you-know-what out of this thing. So and then I'm going to read this closing remark. We'll come back to Cara for some closing remarks and all the great things in aquatics. So, but before we go, don't forget, next week on Monday, we have the Leadership Series hosted by Craig LeBlanc, the doorman. There he is. And his guest will be Sean DePalma, the director of Brownsville, Texas, where I actually was earlier this year for a special needs water safety conference, Level Town, Brownsville, Texas, at noon Eastern. Right after that, tune in for the Parks and Tech Collective, hosted by Ali Sabra. I hope I get your name right, Ali, and featuring Jennifer Kashner. So these are 2 new shows, and we'll be getting in the habit of this. And also, while on the promo of that, I don't know if we have it, but all of July, the Aquatics Life guests are out. From Jose Gallagher to Bria to Nick Krulik. So a lot of people that are going to be at All Things Aquatics, including Cara, are going to be on the show in the month coming of July. So look out for that. I got all my show reads. There it is. Oh my God. Jovi earns Star of the Day. So I promise to go close with Cara. But over the next 4 weeks, Nick Krulik, he is our website guy. He is All Things Aquatics. He'll be there. Bria Mahar, who is a great public speaker. I hope she hears this. She's worked really hard on being a good public speaker, and she's really good. But she's going to be a guest, and she talks about blended aquatics, which is for neurodivergent. Jose Gallagher, still competing swimmer, Jose, in Masters swim events. So there's your old man that can swim in your events, Cara. And his patented dual board will be on our show. And then Julie Feraldi, who came from Craig, who I've yet to meet, but I'm excited, who's in Arizona, and she's going to be talking about what it's like to be new in the industry. So join us for all month long. And on that note, Cara, I'm going to leave it back to you. Tell us maybe something somebody can take away from aquatics that you've learned, or how you've created a vision to stay in it this long. I'm new in aquatics and I'm struggling. How can I get to where Cara is?
Well, there's a few things. One is always stay curious and be willing to learn and grow. If you're not willing to learn new things and grow and do 1% better all the time, you will not be successful in this industry, because it is always changing and there's always room to do better and be better. And 2 is find the things that reignite your passion. All of us are in this because we have some sort of passion for water safety, lifeguarding, aquatics, whatever part of it you love. There have been times it is a high burnout industry. I will acknowledge that. And there have been times that I have been burned out in a role. Going to conferences has always reignited. Making networking connections, talking to new people, getting new ideas reignites. And finding new pieces to learn and focus in on has reignited my passion. If I just did the same thing that I did, 10 years ago for the last 10 years, I wouldn't be here today, because I would be burned out and pieced out and said, see you later, aquatics. But I've had the opportunity to change roles a few times, to learn and grow, get new certifications, go to conferences, continuing learning and growing, and it revitalizes me every so often, continuing to learn and grow. So that's my sense.
I'm so glad I asked, not because I'm a good interviewer, Sean Hayes, Smartless Podcast, but because of that answer. And I think so many people struggle with, well, I'm just in aquatics and the glass ceiling, male, female, director, non-direct, whatever. Or I have to do basketball this summer, or I got to do the, and I just appreciate so much, not only your attitude, but also your understanding of how to approach this job and this industry. And I'm so happy you didn't quit, but I'm also so happy you're here, because I think people can learn from this mentality. Like, tomorrow night might not be perfect, but man, if you've got some things on your calendar and you've got some things to look forward to, we can still do a lot of good work. So I'm just so grateful. I'm excited to see you in Houston in like 90 days or something.
Crazy.
And for anybody that has questions, see Cara or myself or Nicole Field. And I hope everybody has a great, safe holiday. And everybody does well on the 4th of July. Water watchers, stay close to your kids, all the fun, important drowning things. And, let's have a good, safe weekend. So again, thank you, Cara. And enjoy your weekend. And thank you, Jovi. And we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you, Wes. Thank you, Jovi.
This episode is brought to you by SDSU's Sports MBA program. If you're passionate about sports and want to work in the women's sports industry, then this is the time to pay attention. SDSU's program is 12 months accelerated hands-on learning where students have actually gotten to work with teams like the San Diego Mojo, partnered with the Farmers Insurance Open, and visited headquarters like the Upper Deck or Callaway Golf. It's built for people who want to be in rooms like that. So if you're interested, deadlines are approaching. Learn more or apply with the links in the description.
In the parks and recreation industry, attention is limited, but influence is everything. Every day, thousands of parks and recreation professionals make critical decisions. Decisions on infrastructure, programs, technology, and vendors. The question is your brand part of that conversation? DPRS Media Network was built to answer that question. We are a dedicated media ecosystem focused exclusively on the parks and recreation industry in the United States. Through a network of daily and weekly shows, we inform, connect, and influence this audience. Our distribution spans multiple platforms: LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, plus email campaigns, newsletters, podcasts, and live event coverage. This is not a single-channel strategy. It is a multi-platform media engine. Today, our network reaches over 214,000 connections, including 51,000 on LinkedIn, 64,000 on Facebook, nearly 40,000 email subscribers, and thousands more across podcast and social platforms. While some audiences overlap, our true value is not just reach, it is relevance. We speak directly to parks and recreation directors, program managers, and industry leaders, an audience that is highly targeted and actively engaged. Through DPRS Media Network, your brand integrates seamlessly into this ecosystem. Through sponsored show segments, targeted advertisement placements, podcast features, and host-read promotions, even custom branded content. Not as interruptions, but as part of the conversation. And we don't just operate online. We attend over 15 major parks and recreation conventions each year, reaching more than 24,000 professionals in person. Through live shows, interviews, and on-site media coverage, we position our partners at the center of the industry. Every piece of content we produce is amplified across our entire network. Multiple shows, multiple hosts, multiple platforms. Your message doesn't appear once, it multiplies. This is more than advertising. It is strategic positioning within a trusted media network built specifically for the parks and recreation industry. If your goal is to reach decision makers, build credibility, and stay top of mind, then it's time to partner with DPRS Media Network. Apply for partnership or sponsorship today. Let's position your brand where the industry is already paying attention.